industry, whatever it might be for you that you're trying to achieve. Beliefs come in two types. We can have empowering beliefs or we can have limiting beliefs. And we all have both. We'll all have beliefs about our own capabilities that's born out of our childhood, our being raised, what other people tell us, what we tell ourselves, internal dialogue, that creates the beliefs, and that's something that holds us back from being more, doing more, having more, so to speak. So this is something we need to be mindful of trying to understand, and there's ways in which we can uncover a limiting belief, and then ways in which we can start to work with our mindset to change the way that belief is holding us back and create a new and more empowering belief. And that's something that we need to be looking at. What do you truly believe is possible for you right now? Okay, so thinking about what is career-wise or maybe otherwise, but mainly focusing around careers, jobs and that next move, promotion, whatever it is. What is it that you believe is truly possible for you now? Or is there that doubt there that one minute you think it's possible, the next minute you think, oh no, I can't do that. You can do that, and there's ways, and we'll talk you through how you can develop yourself and constantly move forward through that vortex, and you will get there if you want to. If you could achieve anything you wanted, what would it be? Again, you might have to pause and write that down right now. It's up to you if you want to. Now ask yourself what's stopping you. Okay, so if you decide to write something down, what do you think's stopping you? That might uncover for you a limiting belief. But again, we'll talk more about that later. Pause the recording again, you're going to be able to do some of this anyway. Start to think about your goals, start to think about the destination, the future destination where you want to be, and you know what might be holding you back. I'm going to move on to self-awareness. Again, self-awareness is the bedrock, the platform, if you like, for emotional intelligence. So there's very models of emotional intelligence. I look at the one by Daniel Goleman. It talks about sort of self-awareness, self-control, empathy, social awareness, and then relationship building. Okay, so there's kind of 4 domains to it. We're just looking at the self-awareness right now. Being aware of our emotions is a great tool for telling us what we're thinking. So thinking and feeling is linked. So if we're thinking something negatively, it might show up as tension somewhere, or a feeling of butterflies, if you like, going for an interview, or that kind of thing. So they will kind of come out in that sense, and sometimes it's a vice versa. You know, they have the opposite effect. So being aware of what we're thinking and how we are feeling at any one time is a skill. Some people are naturally good at it. It's a natural thing to be able to do. But other people, and like myself, have had to work hard. By no means an expert in terms of emotional intelligence, but I'm a lot better than what I was 30 years ago. And that's an important aspect. It's about self-improvement. So being able to recognise an emotion, understand it and use it to promote positive thinking and strategic decision making. So really what it's about is trying to think about the way you're feeling and thinking, and think about how can you change that into more of a positive perspective. Okay, this takes time. If you're not particularly good at it, as I wasn't, it takes an awful lot of time and practice to do this. But in actual fact, it can be done, and it makes a huge difference in your life, in every area of your life. Just thinking about your actions and what the consequences of those actions are. That moment when you've got an email that's kind of really maybe abusive or threatening, or you know, really got you angry. Do you fire an email back straight away and escalate the problem, or do you calm down and think about it and really think about refining a good email that puts across a real good case and maybe makes the other person think? You know, and of course we've got social media these days where there's lots of great stuff on social media, but there's also lots of bad stuff on social media. We're bringing the worst out in human nature, and I think emotional intelligence can get you to think about the way you respond in those circumstances as well. It's the heart and mind connect, and it's one that we must master. Okay, so it's really about thinking, feeling, behaving and acting that really are key to this. The more we can raise our self-awareness, the better we'll be. And there's some activities that you can have a look at that's going to help you to do that. If you want to pause the recording now, by all means do that. I'm going to move on to the next stage. Come with me if you want to, on to the next one, which is interests and preferences. So when we think about our interests and preferences, this is key to finding that next job. Don't do the thing that I did when I was looking for a job. I was in between jobs at the time. I've been doing a bit of consultancy kind of work, but it wasn't working out too great. So I wanted to get back into employment, and I went to see a coach, and they said to me, John, I don't know whether you're really serious about wanting to get this next role that you're looking for. And I said, I'll tell you how serious I am. I wrote 100 letters for 100 jobs in just 1 week. And I felt quite proud by the amount of effort that I'd put in. And the coach said to me, let me ask you one question. He said, how many of those jobs did you absolutely want with all your heart? And the blood drained from my face, because the true answer was none. I didn't really know what I wanted. I was just firing at anybody that might respond. Interests and preferences is something that you've got to work out before you go for that next role, before you go for that promotion, or whatever it might be. Think about the types of things you're going to be doing, what you're going to be working with. Are you working with machinery? Are you working with people? Are you working with concepts and ideas? Are you creating something? Are you working outside? Are you working inside? Have you got flexibility? Can you work from home nowadays part of the time or all of the time? There's so many variables to think about. What's the location geographically where you're going to be working? Are you going to be working around different sites perhaps? Are you going to be on site? What sort of boss would you like to have? Can you imagine what sort of boss you'd like to work for? Somebody that's supportive and encouraging and approachable, as opposed to somebody that's the opposite of all those things. So there's so many things to think about when we're thinking about our interests and preferences, that I really want you to focus in on that when you're thinking about the next role. An individual's interest affects motivation, skills and knowledge acquisition. So being involved in something you're interested in is absolutely key. I started my PhD 4.5 years ago, still not quite finished it yet, doing it part-time. And one of the professors I was talking to at the time said to me, make sure, John, that you choose something that you're passionate about and interested in researching, because if you don't, it's not a matter of if you fail to follow through with it, it's only a matter of when. So you have to choose something that you really care about, that you're really passionate about. Again, we can do things like personality type tests, Myers-Briggs type test, MBTI. You probably pick that up online. It'll give you a unique code, 1 of 16. It's a 4-letter code that tells you a little bit about who you are. And I advocate doing all these kind of things. There's a million things you can do online nowadays in terms of these little activities. And I always think that when you do a little activity, you get a bit of feedback. It's like creating a pixel of yourself. And if you do enough activities, you create enough pixels to create a picture. And that picture then is who you are. And then you can start to develop more of who you are and where you want to be, knowing about yourself, which is what the self-study really is. And it says, from the image opposite, where would you position yourself? Okay, it may not be a specific area, but have a look at that image. Is there somewhere that you think sticks out? Make some notes, write things down, play around with ideas. It's up to you to start to develop this. Okay, so what would your work preferences be? We've talked about that as well. Think about those. So again, pause the recording if you want